My name is Rakesh Bhandari. I've been in the ISF program since 2009, and my areas of interest include what's sometimes called heterodox political economy, traditions of political economy that are not commonly taught, and I also have a deep interest in science and technology studies. My initial training was in philosophy, so I like to bring philosophical questions to any area of research. My teaching philosophy has several components. One has been that because our students are so often focused on existing problems, pressing problems, I have tried to acquaint students with the latest literature. I've tried to keep us contemporary. It's a struggle, it's a burden, because I'm not passing on necessarily a fixed body of knowledge. I'm not really in the transmission business of the classics or the perennial or the eternal insights. So my teaching philosophy, I would say then, centers on problem solving, helping students to formulate what the problems are, to see how the very nature of the problem is changing, how the literature speaking to it is evolving at a pretty rapid pace. So I try to figure out what the problems are, the different approaches to the problem, the controversy in the area. I like to teach to the controversy, teach to the difficulty. So that's one component of it. Obviously, ISF is almost a unique, perhaps a unique program at Cal in that we are trying to get students to do their own research. So my teaching is about trying to probe with students what their actual interests are, what problems they find compelling and worth their attention. So much of my teaching philosophy is about dialogue with the students, helping them articulate in a defensible way the problems on which they want to be focused. So I'd say it's the central component of this is problem solving, trying to find problems as they're evolving, as the methods to tackle them are changing, as the literature is quickly evolving, and to try to sharpen what that problem is, both for the general purposes of the research area, the general questions that the student will be tackling through the ISF program, through the Interdisciplinary Studies Program, and also then to narrow down to a specific problem. But this is not a matter, again, of my transmitting knowledge to the students. It is working with them on trying to formulate what the most pressing problems are that they would like to work on. It's a really wonderful experience. First, because I get introduced to students with diverse interests, and my knowledge is therefore always expanding due to dialogue with the students. Selfishly, I would also say that the students bring to me their excitement from other classes, so I get to learn about what some of the most exciting profs on campus are teaching. So being a lecturer is, in a way, I'm in a great position in interdisciplinary studies to have an understanding of the vibrancy of this campus, this really wonderful, amazing campus. This job is very suited to my personality because I love talking to students. I love learning about what they're interested in. And so I get to have a lot of one-on-one discussions with students. I like that kind of personal relationship in teaching. And so I found teaching in ISF to be a really gratifying experience. Lastly, I work with fantastic colleagues, and they're constantly teaching me new things. I'm constantly working out my ideas with them. So it's been a real pleasure to teach in the Interdisciplinary Studies program. Well, the first thing is that you do have to have initiative, because we have to scour the course catalog to find the courses that are relevant to the research problem that you will be tackling in an interdisciplinary way. So we need to have, you have to put that little extra effort in there. You have to have initiative. You have to want to strike up dialogue with other students on campus about what they find interesting, so there aren't these blind spots of what's happening on the campus. So we need students with initiative. We also need students who want the experience of maturing into independent thinkers. That is, for most students' lives, they've been very good students. They've been given books to read, articles to read, assignments to do, and they have done them dutifully and often brilliantly. That's why they're here at Cal. But we need students who want something more. That is, they want, for once, to define the problem that they're going to tackle. They have to want to take the initiative. They have to want to feel that that's part of their maturation process as a thinking person. That you're not just learning. There used to be an old concept of a bank. You're just not there to have ideas deposited in you. You need to be, to succeed in this program, you have to be someone who wants to actively construct a field, a problem. And that, again, requires two things. One, it requires scouring this campus, trying to find out where all these hidden opportunities are to get a deeper understanding of your research area. And it also means that you need to take the initiative. You have to be bold, that you can actually, the problem that you want to work on is actually relevant and important, and that you can articulate a problem that you are going to work on instead of just being told this is what you need to learn. So we need students with initiative, and I think that's probably the key to being a successful interdisciplinary studies student. There are several ways in which interdisciplinary studies can be a very effective way to tackle a problem. Now, remember, interdisciplinary studies is not a major you go to just get a little, tasting of all the other disciplines on campus. That's not what it is. What interdisciplinary studies is a recognition that there are certain problems that are best approached through an interdisciplinary way. So it's a problem-focused major. So let's think of like certain concepts. Like let's say you're interested in the idea of surveillance or race or the Anthropocene. You want to understand what the problems are about the concept of race and the racial ordering of the world. You want to understand what are the new forms of surveillance, cross-nationally, let's say. You want to understand why we would want to understand our geological periods in the Anthropocene. You might find that to best explore the questions that arise in these various fields here, you really do need to draw on resources from various disciplines. The other reason we could call these topics kind of boundary objects. They're objects that exist at the boundaries of many different disciplines. Race, surveillance, Anthropocene. We might also find that if we want to tackle a big problem, for example, let's say the financial crisis of 2008, you really need the resources in economics, but also politics and sociology to really understand the many things that led up to that crisis. Partly it was a political deregulation of derivatives. Partly it was the corruption of a profession, like the credit agencies. And of course it was economic. But you might, if that was your object, like of economic crises, you might find that economics is not enough. You need the other disciplines to approach this. Sometimes interdisciplinary studies also allows you to question the fundamental assumptions in a discipline. So for example, in political science, it has historically been the study of states. But you might want to question whether politics really is really just about the actions of states. You might want to include political movements outside the state in your understanding of what politics is. And anthropology or sociology might be a good thing to marry with political science. We often also find that some of the assumptions in the disciplines require cross-disciplinary examination. So right now we're in the throes of a revolution in economics because the psychology that was presumed in economic models of rational economic man has been questioned and challenged by findings in the psychological sciences. And so interdisciplinary studies would allow you to take courses in psychology and economics to really get a deeper understanding of these terms. The other reason to be an interdisciplinary studies major is that there are some books that are tremendously influential, that actually have affected people's research agendas, has deeply informed their own thought, but that don't often get taught because they're interdisciplinary. They fall between disciplines. I would think of maybe Amartya Sen's idea of justice. He's an economist and a philosopher. And so this book that is really a very important conception of justice, he won the Nobel Prize, often won't get taught because he's not considered to be either an economist or a philosopher in that book. Or I take a book like Boltanski's book on the spirit of capitalism. it's equal parts management studies, sociology, political theory, and it often wouldn't get taught because it doesn't fit into any one discipline. So in interdisciplinary studies, we have the freedom to teach some of these great, influential books, kind of paradigm-setting books, that often just kind of slip through the cracks because they don't fit into a discipline. So there's a lot of, I have a lot of excitement about interdisciplinary studies. I feel that we're able to teach books that should be taught to undergraduates, and that have been much more influential than their presence on syllabi would indicate. So we have freedom to do things in interdisciplinary studies as well. One of our unique qualities, I think, at this point is that we take the project of undergraduate research seriously for all our students. And that seriousness is expressed in our having two requirements. One is a research methods course, which we call ISF 189, which is a broad survey to different research methods. So one would get the sense of what the strengths and limitations are of survey questions, or ethnographies, or interviews, or statistical causal analysis, or content analysis. We give you a broad overview of research methods and why different methods can be the most appropriate at different times. But different kinds of knowledges are produced using these different methods, and sometimes they're illuminating, they can illuminate, but they also have limitations. So there's something of a philosophical discussion of methods as well. The advantage of this is that this class doesn't just prepare you just to write the thesis, where you'll have to choose a method and a research problem. It also prepares you to do research after you graduate, whether you're an NGO, or you're working for the government, or you're working for a private company, or you do go into academics. So that's one thing that we take very seriously, this research method requirement. And we often ask our students to actually supplement. We want them to take 189, we require it, but we often say, okay, well, given what your interests are, you should take a couple more classes on statistical causal analysis. Or there's another ethnography class in anthropology that you should take. Or there's a class on interviews in sociology, given what your interests are. So we take the methods part very seriously in our program. And then, of course, we also require this thesis, about which I've already spoken. That is where you articulate the research problem. Now, it's going to be vetted by us. We're going to make sure that the research that you intend to do is doable, and also doable within the time frame that you have for it. But you are going to articulate your own research question. You're going to break out. You're not going to be just someone's student for the first time. You're going to be teaching your class, your fellow students, and your thesis supervisor, one of us, what you have found. You're going to be sharing knowledge and producing knowledge. We're very proud of these two aspects of our program. We think it serves undergraduates quite well. I would say the fundamental misconception is those who think that ISF is just a place to kind of take hors d'oeuvres from all the different departments. It's not that at all. You're going to have a delimited, specific research focus. You're going to be examining something that can be best examined by multiple disciplines. So this is not a place where you go just to put together any set of courses that you want to take. It's going to be directed around that research question. And it's going to be rigorously vetted for that. We want you to have an understanding in depth about something. So I would say that that's one misconception that that I would like to correct. Come and talk to us. I'm really happy to be working with the people with whom I work, which are Patrick, Fong, Am, and Shri. I'm really happy to be working with them. We're all people. So come and talk to us. And we're not here to recruit you for the major either. We're here fundamentally first to be your advisor, to find out what's the best course for you. Sometimes we'll talk to students and say, you would be better served in this major or that major. We really want to do what's best for you. And if we are the best for you, then we will welcome you and we will work with you on finding the best courses and really making sure you leave Cal with an in-depth understanding of something, plus some mastery of technical skills that you'll be able to use after you graduate. So come and talk to us. We're really people. We'd love for you to come and crash our office hours. Okay?